On the 67th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about the MLB postseasons and some MLB news, along with the NFL Pickems for the week. We're going to be ranking the top 5 all-time MLB pitchers, and we're going to end it off with some Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Make sure to use promo code HatTrick Sports when checking out at w.gg. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. The MLB postseason has officially started back up. Now, I've never really considered the wild card too much as postseason, just because it's the wild card. It used to only be like 2 games, and then now 14 teams make it to the postseason, and I feel like that shouldn't be part of the playoffs, because playoffs are supposed to be the good teams and not half of the entire league. So we are now officially in the divisional series, and it's been a little dicey so far. So at the time of this recording, only Game 1 has happened in all of the divisional series games. Let me look up the postseason. Let me pull this up. So far, what has happened, we're going to do a little recap of the entire postseason so far. So you had the Tigers playing the Astros in the wild card. The Tigers won 2-0. That's what the Trastros get. The Trastros, in my opinion, is probably my least favorite team. It's probably up there. I know it's been 7-8 years since they cheated, but you know what? I'll hold on to that grudge probably until the day I die. Then you had the Royals and you had the Orioles. The Royals and Orioles. The Royals absolutely dominated the Orioles. Royals won in 2 games, and they won 2-0. Now they are playing the Yankees. In the NL side, you had the Mets playing the Brewers. Now, the Mets ended up winning 2-1. We'll be talking about this a little bit later on. Pete Alonso had himself a game. I mean, so many people were bashing him on social media throughout that game, and then all of a sudden, the only reason why they even made it to the DS, and they won Game 1 of the DS, is because Pete Alonso hit that 3-run bomb. Absolutely wild. Again, we'll get into that in a little bit later. You got the Braves and you had the Padres. Now, as a Dodgers fan, I hate to admit it, and I'm hoping no Padres fan is watching this, I was scared of the Padres. Now, again, we'll get into that, but the Padres played the Braves. I wanted the Braves to win that series so bad because I knew that the Dodgers could potentially shut out the Braves and win 3-0. But instead, the Padres won in 2 games. They were 2-0. So 3 of the 4 wild card series was straight shutouts. I mean, they all won. 3 of the 4 series won just straight up 2-0. But now we are in the DS. Now, Game 1, every single team has played 1 game in the DS so far. It was last night. We were filming this on October 6th, Sunday, October 6th. And on the 5th, everybody played a game. You had the Tigers and Guardians. Now, the Guardians ended up winning that. I do think that the wild card kind of gives you a momentum advantage, if that makes sense. Again, we'll get onto that in a little bit later. But I do think that gives you a little bit of advantage. But the Guardians ended up taking Game 1. You had the Royals and Yankees, one of the best games I've watched all year. From an unbiased standpoint, obviously I've watched the Dodgers live in Miami. I watched the Dodgers absolutely dominate Miami and show it 50-50. But in terms of a good ball game of what people want to watch, that Yankees-Royals Game 1, that was absolutely crazy, but the Yankees do come up on top. They are now leading 1-0 in the ALDS. You have the Mets playing the Phillies. The Mets ended up winning, beating the Phillies because, again, I think they had momentum. They had Pete Alonso the night before hit a go-ahead home run. They just had the momentum, and the Phillies have been sitting on the couch watching these teams play, being lazy and stuff. And, again, we'll get into that, but it gives you a big momentum boost when you're in the wild card. And then, again, the other NLDS, you have the Padres and you have the Dodgers. The Dodgers ended up winning. It came down to pretty much the last pitch. You had Manny Machado, former friend alert, old friend alert, and the Dodgers ended up taking that. So the Dodgers are winning 1-0 in the series. Come on, my Dodgers, come on. But the Dodgers-Padres series, again, I follow the Dodgers very, very, hardcore. The Padres are obsessed with the Dodgers. They're like, beat LA, beat LA. Hey, look at the MLB regular season standings. We absolutely, let me look up the standings. I want exact standings, just so I don't get flames in the comments. Yeah, we beat you guys by 5 games. What do you mean beat LA? We just played 162 games and proved to you guys that we beat you. And now you guys got the extra practice in the wild card while we had to sit down being lazy, watch you guys. And you guys are now like, beat LA, beat LA. You guys are, like, you know, like when you like talk about somebody so much and people are like, oh, do you really like them or whatever? Like, you guys are scared of us. So you guys just keep mentioning us and like just try to, you guys are scared of us. You guys aren't trying to beat LA. You guys were doing that in the wild card. Before you guys even made it to the DS, you guys were like, beat LA, beat LA. And it's like, no, first of all, you gotta beat the Braves first and then get to LA. And then now you guys aren't gonna let Dodgers fans buy tickets for the DS games in San Diego. It's just petty. It's just petty, and I just don't like the Padres. Now I understand they're trying to win. They're arrogant. I don't think they're confident. I think they're arrogant in this whole situation. But yeah, and now they're charging because again, it's more exclusive. No Dodgers fan if you have to like put in your zip code or whatever. And if you live in the LA area, they're not letting you buy tickets. And the Padres obviously have a lot less playoff appearances of eternity than the Dodgers. So now their ticket prices are $165 more than what they're selling in LA for the same series. So, hey, a reality check for you guys. We're better than you by a lot. We proved it in the regular season. And second, you guys are charging $165 more than the, not total, more addition to the Dodgers for tickets due to lack of experience. Let's be honest. It's because there hasn't been that many playoff games in San Diego. So that's my thought on the whole Dodgers-Padres kind of series thing. But hey, but let's talk about the first round bye. Now, Rob Manfred has completely destroyed the MLB postseason. There are 14 teams that make it. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Hold up. There are 16 teams. Or no, I take that back because I'm counting wrong. There's 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah, no, I was right. 2, 4, 5, 6. So there are 12. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. All right. So there are 12 teams that make it to the postseason. 8 of them get the extra practice, you could say. So the wild card, I think, is great for a team. If you are in the wild card, I would be thrilled to be in the wild card. I think the first round bye is absolutely horrible. Now, you guys may have remembered a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, the Dodgers and Padres, they were 2 games within each other. And I was like, hey, if the Dodgers get second in the division and have to face the Braves, oh no, we dominate through the Braves. We have all of the momentum. And then we go to the Padres, who have been sitting down doing nothing for the last week, and beat them and then go all the way up. It's a big momentum boost. And I think that the first round bye is a scam. And I think something has to change because it's only in the MLB, I think. I think it's only in the MLB. But yeah, the Dodgers are overly rested. Now you can make the argument. I've heard a lot of arguments. Hey, your pitchers get an extra week off. That's not, the pitchers spend 8 months fixing their schedule to they get the 4 days rest and then they pitch on the 5th day. They make their lives scheduled to that, and when they have that abrupt change and they have that extra week's rest, hey, now guess what? Now they're lazy. They're not as active. Like, it's just a huge scam. And I think that's the reason why you have that stigma of the Dodgers losing early in the postseason every year after winning 100-plus games. Now, obviously, this year was an exception. But in the past, losing to the Diamondbacks and things like that, it's because the Diamondbacks were in the wild card. It's because the Diamondbacks had the momentum to get through. And it's like, it's just very, very, in my opinion, is very hard for a first round bye team to beat a wild card, especially if it's close. Now, again, if it was the Braves and Dodgers, I think the Dodgers would beat the Braves easily. But it's the Padres. The Padres and Dodgers have been playing each other. It's a big rivalry. They obviously play a couple hours apart from each other. Like, it's just big like that. And I do think that the first round bye next year, depending on how the Dodgers, now if the Dodgers win the World Series this year, I take all of this back. forget everything I'm about to say. But if we lose to the Padres or the Mets or Phillies or whoever, if we don't make it to the World Series and win the World Series, I want the Dodgers, first of all, to fire Dave Roberts. And second, I want them to get second on purpose. I want them to go into the wild card on purpose. I just don't think... I think a first-round bye is a scam. I mean, straight up. All right, let's move on to Pete. Sweet Pete Alonso had himself a day. So the Brewers and Mets played Game 3. Game 3, it was scoreless through like 6 or 7 innings. And then the Brewers hit like back-to-back home runs. So the Brewers were up 2-0. Pete Alonso, it was an easy pop-up in foul territory, and he misses it. And all over social media, all over the stadium, all over everywhere, Mets fans, MLB fans were bashing Pete Alonso. Now, obviously, Pete Alonso doesn't know this. He's on the field at the time. And so they're like, oh, they're not going to resign him. Oh, he's going to stay a free agent. Oh, he's going to do great. And with the Mariners, obviously, the Mariners is one place that he could end up going. But they're like, oh, the Mets will never re-sign him after this. And then he proves them all wrong by hitting a go-ahead 3-run home run to take the lead and help them secure the win to get into the DS. And, I mean, the biggest zero to hero I have ever seen in a game. Pete Alonso did absolutely great. Again, he got so much hate. Again, he doesn't know this at the time, but he just kept getting so much hate. Everything I saw was like, oh, he's not going to get re-signed. Oh, he sucks. Oh, nobody should sign him, whatever. And, yeah, he hit that go-ahead home run to send the Mets to the DS. And I'm wondering, again, depending on how far the Mets go, if he didn't hit that home run, would he have gotten re-signed by the Mets? Now, we will never know that, but... And we don't know how the game would end up going if he caught that foul ball. Like, maybe if he caught that foul ball, it was 5 seconds. It would have been like 2 minutes later. He would have got the at bat and he wouldn't have hit the home run. And at the end of the day, coming back for that. But yeah, and then Clayton Kershaw is out for the season. Now, obviously, for the first half of the season, he got re-signed by the Dodgers, and he didn't play for the first half of the season. Then for the second half of the season, he was supposed to, after the All-Star break, he was supposed to come out, and but then he ended up with that toe injury, and in that toe injury, he is just an on and off kind of thing, and so he's been working on his toe for like 5 weeks. And it's just not getting better, according to Dave Roberts. So they cut him completely from the postseason, and in the postseason, obviously he hasn't had the best time in the postseason. He obviously struggles quite a bit, so I'm not a fan of it. But I do like that they're keeping him on the team. Give him that other World Series. Obviously, he won the World Series in 2020, but now he can have that. If the Dodgers end up winning the World Series, he can have that second World Series. And let's be honest, he's getting old. Well, how old is he? He's got to be 35, 36, something like that. And he's more injury prone. His body isn't going to heal like it used to. And obviously, first half of the season he didn't play. He's old. He's injury prone. You can't say that pretty much any other way. And is this done? Is this the end of Clayton Kershaw? Will he re-sign with another team? Will he re-sign with the Dodgers? Now, there's rumors obviously every year that he'll re-sign with the Rangers and all that. Or is he going to hang the cleats up? Is he going to put the spikes up? And I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I think that's after the Dodgers postseason. See what happens there. But more MLB news. Tito, you got Tito. He was obviously a manager 3-time. I have his stats up here. Manager of the year 3 times, I want to say. Yeah, 3-time manager of the year. He won 2 World Series, 3 pennants. He was obviously with the Indians and now Guardians. And he had this whole retirement thing, and now he's back. He just signed with the Reds. He has a 3-year contract with the Reds. I think what he realized was, like, hey, he was 60 years old, 62, whatever years old when he retired, and he was thinking, like, hey, what do guys on the field do? Like, what do players do after they retire? Like, do they just sit at home, watch baseball, play golf? Like, what do they do? And I think Terry realized, like, hey, when players are done, they go to manage. You see Dave Roberts, you see Aaron Boone, you see all these guys that after they retire, they become managers. And I think that's what Tito thought. Like, hey, I'm supposed to be managing for another few years. So the Reds sign him. He obviously has good experience with younger guys. He builds great teams. I mean, the Indians and Guardians did great under his wing. But I think it was just a matter of fact, like, he realized that he had a midlife crisis. Like, he didn't know what to do with his life after retiring. But he comes back. I'm happy that he came back, and I don't know. We'll see what the Reds do next season. All right, let's move on to our sponsored segment. We have new official sponsors of HatTrick Sports. We have W Energy. You can get it at w.gg. Make sure you use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your order. Again, I'm just opening this for the first time now. I'm going to try this flavor live with you guys, give my honest reaction, and we will see what... Let me see if I can open this. Again, this isn't on the product. This is on me that I can't open the thing. There we go. All right, we are going to see live how good this is. So, yes, like I said, W Energy is official partners with HatTrick Sports. Now, we are going to see how this tastes. It is good. It's good for you. It doesn't have any, like, it says on the bottle here, it has zero fillers. It has zero artificial colors and dyes. It's supposed to be good for you. It's not supposed to like get you jittery after drinking like most energy drinks. But you get your W water bottle right here. You open it up. You take one scoop. This flavor is Cali O cream, which is like mango orange cream. You take a scoop, just as simple as that, and you put it in here. You do that. You close it up. You shake it, and then you have energy. So obviously, we film this on Sunday mornings. Now, after I drink this, I should have enough energy to obviously edit all of this, watch football, watch Sunday night football, watch all of the playoff games, the MLB playoff games, and we'll see how well this will work. One sip, everybody knows the rules. Oh, that's good. That's actually really good. So this flavor is the like the mango orange cream. It's actually really, really good. It's supposed to be like not like other energy drinks. After other energy drinks, obviously, after you drink it, you get all jittery, and this is supposed to like keep you energized, but not super jittery and stuff. And I think once if everybody knows the rules, out of 10, let me get another one. I think this gets a 9.8, a 9.8 for W Energy. Again, make sure you go to w.gg and use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your first order. Thank you, W, for sponsoring this part of the podcast. Now let's go on to some football news. Let's go on to college football. Alabama was playing Vanderbilt. Now, it was supposed to be pretty much a blowout. Alabama was supposed to win. They're the 1 seed. Vanderbilt, I don't even think was ranked at the time. And Alabama loses in a massive, probably the biggest upset of the year out of any sport. Let's be honest. Alabama was supposed to absolutely dominate Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt comes up on top. Now they take the goalpost, whatever, they put it, all the college students tear down the goalpost. They apparently walked 2.5 miles to a river and threw the goalpost in a river after this extremely huge upset. Now, I don't know what's happening to Bama. Now, obviously, they had Saban, and they were good forever with Saban and all that. But now, they don't have Saban. Last week, they almost blew the lead to Georgia. They were supposed to beat Georgia, and it was they had a huge margin. They were winning by like 40 points. Then Georgia came back. Then Alabama ended up winning that game. So they almost lost to Georgia after a 40-point lead. And now they're losing to Vanderbilt. What's happening to Alabama? I don't know if it's Saban. I don't know if it's this new head coach. I don't know if it's the players. I don't know if it's the momentum thing. They come out of the locker room super confident and cocky. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, I don't know what's happening to Bama. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think this is the biggest upset of the year in any sport. Nobody was expecting that to happen, and I guess they were kind of coming back, and they just ended up couldn't come back against Vanderbilt. I don't know how that happens. Let's move on to our NFL Pickems. Now, NFL Pickems for this week. Last week we did okay. The week before there was a whole bunch of upsets. But let me look up the NFL schedule. Here we go. So we're not going to do, obviously, the Thursday night football game, or there was one in, like, England or something. You had the Jets and Vikings still playing now. But we're not going to do any of those. But through the 1 o'clock games Eastern time to the Monday night football games, you have the Panthers and Bears. It's being played in Chicago. The Panthers obviously aren't any good at all. Give me the Bears. You have the Browns and Commanders. It's being played in Washington. The Commanders, I believe, are favored by a few points, so give me the Commanders. You have the Dolphins and Patriots. Now, the Dolphins are a little bit interesting team this year. The Dolphins and the Patriots, they got Tyreek. I don't know. I think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Patriots. You have the Colts and you got the Jags. A little division matchup right there. It's being played in Jacksonville. I don't know what's going to happen. There's obviously big storms in the Florida area right now, and I don't know if the Jags Stadium is going to get flooded. Obviously, it's not like a dome or anything like that. The Colts, are they used to playing in this wet rain? Now it's going to be very humid out. I don't know. I think that gives the Jags a little home field advantage. So give me the Jags. You have the Bills and the Texans. I've been big on the Bills for the last 2 seasons. I think this season or the next season they might make it all the way to the big game, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to take the Bills. I know it's being played in Houston, but give me the Bills. You have the Ravens and the Bengals, another divisional matchup, but the Bengals and Joe Burrow have this in the bag, so give me the Bengals. You have the Raiders and you have the Broncos. Give me the Broncos, little Bo Nix action, and I don't think the Raiders are that good. I just don't think the Raiders are that good, and I think the Broncos are getting ahead. Obviously, they were down last season, but I think they're trying to build their way back up. You have the Cardinals and 49ers, the NFC West matchup. A lot of division matchups this week. I think the 49ers are favored by like 7.5. It's being played in San Francisco. Give me the 49ers. You have the Giants and Seahawks. Again, the Giants are absolutely horrible this year. The Seahawks are favored by, again, I think 7.5 or something. It's being played in Seattle. Give me the Seahawks. You have the Packers and Rams. Give me the Packers. I know it's in LA. I just think the Rams are kind of in a slump. The Seahawks, for the first time in a long time, are first in their division, and the Rams are just kind of behind there. But yes, give me the Packers. You have the Cowboys and Steelers for a little Sunday night football action. Give me the Steelers. I think this might be a close game, but I do think the Steelers come out on top. Last week, they obviously lost to the Colts. I think they're still a little mad about that one, so give me the Steelers. And then for the Monday night football game, you have the Saints and you have the Chiefs. It's an obvious Chiefs. So give me the Chiefs, and that is your Week 5 NFL Pickems. We'll see how we do, and check back next week to see how we did. Let's move on to the top 5 all-time MLB pitchers. Now, we are going to be ranking the top 5 best pitchers to ever play the game of baseball from 1900 to 2024. We have 124 years of pitchers. Who are the top 5? At number 5, you have Randy Johnson. Now, I've heard some people say that is ranked a little bit high. I've also heard some people say that's ranked a little bit low and that he should be top 3 or something. Now, in the grand aspect of things, you have to think about, we're talking about 124 years of baseball. Now, the Dodgers have started 17 different pitchers in just 1 year. Now, think about that, but times 30 teams, times 124 years. There's a lot of pitchers. Randy Johnson can't be number 1. At number 4, you have Greg Maddux. Now you might be saying, hey, I say you're a Dodgers fan. Of course you're going to put Greg Maddux over Randy Johnson. Now, there might be a little... I might be doing that a little bit, but I do think Greg Maddux was better than Randy Johnson. At number 3, you have Roger Clemens. Now, obviously, I've never watched half these guys, but I've seen the stats, I've seen the highlights, and I feel like I've seen enough stats to determine that Roger Clemens deserves to be a top 3 a top 3 pitcher of all time. I have their stats up here. At number 2, you have Cy Young. Now, there's an award named after him. The best pitcher every year gets an award called the Cy Young Award. So, obviously, he deserves to be top 2. If there's an award being named after, I don't know, it just makes sense to me. He pitched over 7,300 innings. He had over 500 wins. He had 76 shutouts, 2.3 strikeouts to walk ratio. He had a 2.63 ERA. I mean, he's just one of the best. He's runner-up to the greatest pitcher of all time. I think the greatest pitcher of all time, though, is Walter Johnson. He pitched 5,900 innings, 117 wins. He had 110 shutouts, 2.6 Ks, to walks, 2.17 ERA. He's just super consistent and dominant. He played for 20 years. Now you might be saying also like, hey, he pitched in the early 1900s. He pitched 100 years ago. Literally 100 years ago he pitched. And obviously we don't have video of him. We just have to go off the stats and what other people have to say about him. But I do think that he should be considered the greatest pitcher of all time. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But let's move on to more NFL news. We kind of took a little leeway into baseball. More NFL news. I'm going to predict the NFL division winners. Now, we're only 4 weeks into the season. By the time this comes out, it might be 5 weeks into the season. But let's start off with the NFC. So in the NFC East, you have the Commanders, Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. Now, the Giants are out of there. I don't think they have a shot. Eagles, I think, are okay. But the Commanders, man, I think the Commanders are really, really good. I think they're going to carry, I think they have been and are going to carry that division super far because obviously the last season that they were the Redskins, they were horrible. Like the whole division was kind of screwed up. Yeah, Dak Prescott, so the Cowboys were okay, but the whole division just wasn't that good. But yeah, for the NFC East, I have the Commanders winning it at the end of the season. In the NFC West, you have the Seahawks, 49ers, Cardinals, and Rams. The 49ers have always been a pretty dominant team in the NFC West. The Seahawks are leading as of right now, as of an hour before kickoff of Week 5. But I do think the 49ers come out on top. I know as a Seahawks fan I'm saying that. I think the 49ers end up winning the division at the end of the season. You have the NFC North, the Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers. I think the Lions give it a shot. I think if the Vikings weren't in the NFC North, the Lions would win the division. But the Vikings, they're 4-0. They're about to be 5-0. No, they're only down by a touchdown right now. But the Vikings, they're just so good. They're just extremely good this season. I don't know what happened, but they just got good over the offseason. And then in the NFC South, you have the Falcons, Bucks, Saints, Panthers. Right now, the Falcons and Bucks are tied for first, but I do think the Bucks end up getting that. I just don't think the Falcons are a good team. And again, I think that the NFC South is potentially the worst division in all of football right now. It's not an exciting division, if we're being honest. Now let's move on to the AFC. You have the AFC East. You have the Bills, Jets, Patriots, Dolphins. Again, I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. I think the Bills have a chance at winning it all this season. I think the Chiefs are the only thing stopping them, and that's if they get all the way up there. But I do think the Bills win the AFC East. And the AFC West, you have the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. The Chiefs have been the best team for the last few seasons. They've won 3 Super Bowls in a row. I want to say two or three Super Bowls in a row. They have a stacked team. They have Patrick Mahomes, obviously, Kelsey, and all of those guys. It's just hard to stop them. It's very, very hard to stop the Chiefs. It's like the dream team all over again. And then you have the AFC North. Now, I'm a little tied here. So the Steelers and Ravens are in contention for the best team in the division. And then you have the Browns and Bengals. The Bengals just aren't doing all that well this season. I think Joe Burrow's going to kick it in here soon. I think the Browns are worse than the Bengals, if we're being honest. But the Ravens and Steelers, I was going back and forth all this. So as of right now, the Steelers are leading the division. But I think at the end of the season, the Ravens come up and end up winning the AFC North. And then what is the last division? The AFC South, you have the Texans, Colts, Titans, and Jags. I think that the Colts end up winning that. Now, the Texans are obviously good right now, but I think with the schedule that they have, they're going to end up dropping a little bit, and I think the Colts are going to go up. I think the Colts have a consistent schedule, and I think that it's only going to make them better. So I do think that the Colts will end up being AFC South champions. All right. How much time we got? All right, we got a couple minutes left. Let's move on to my favorite segment, Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? All right, Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? All right, for Hall of Fame, yay or nay, we have Patrick Mahomes. Now, this is if he retired right now. Patrick Mahomes, if he retired right now, would he be in the Hall of Fame? So obviously when we do things, we figure out like, hey, if they retire in 5 years, what do they need to do to be in the Hall of Fame? This is just if they retire right now. So obviously that's 6-time Pro Bowls, 2-time All-Pros, 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's won 3 Super Bowl MVPs. Just an incredible guy. They call him the modern day Tom Brady. I don't think he's as good as Tom Brady. He's played 100 games, 66 career completion percentage, almost 30,000 yards, yards per attempt, 225 touchdowns, 68 interceptions. Let's see what he led the league in. He led the league in a whole bunch of stuff throughout his entire career. He led the league with 50. No, that can't be right. Is that right? Holy cow. He had 50. That can't be right. 50 passing touchdowns in 2018. That can't be right. And then 41. Wait, hold up. 1 second. It might be. Holy cow. Yeah. He had 50 passing touchdowns in 2018. He led the league in that. In touchdown percentage, he had 8.6. He led the league in that in 2018. He led the league in a few other random stats. And then he had the most yards in 2022 by any quarterback. He led the league in touchdowns with 41 in 2022. And then 6.3 touchdown percentage. He's up there. I mean, I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. If he ended his career right now, if he walked off the field and quit right now, he didn't show up to any more games, I think he would be in the Hall of Fame. He's obviously only played for the Chiefs. And let's be honest, it's the NFL Hall of Fame. Everybody makes it. But in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame, I do think that Patrick Mahomes ends up in the Hall of Fame, even if he retired right now. He's been playing since 2017. He's been there long enough. He's been consistent throughout his entire career. One of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, if we're being honest. So, yeah, it's a yay. I do think Patrick Mahomes belongs in the Hall of Fame. All right, thank you guys for watching the 67th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us wherever you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. Make sure to go to w.gg and use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your order. And go to shop@HatTrickSports.com to get all of your merch and clothing stuff. And we will see you guys next week for episode 68.